So Concord's sudden shutdown is such a big deal. It's been brought up during a UK government debate on the video game consumer laws. So this all ties back into stop killing games. And one of the examples that was used was Concord. Now, I know everyone wants to trash on this game. It is a fucking piece of shit, right? But there is a fucking argument here going, well, you sold this game and less than 2 weeks later, you shut it down. That's not right. And when it comes to video game preservation, it really is all or nothing, all right? You know, just because you might think a game is the worst fucking thing ever fucking made, it still should be preserved. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rules when something is just so heavy in fucking copyright scams and all that type of stuff that it just can't exist anymore. That's another can of worms, right? But just because a game is an absolute piece of shit, disaster, monstrosity, doesn't mean it should be completely nuked. And a great example, I would say, is Anthem. People paid money for Anthem. It's a fucking piece of shit. And all the servers got taken down. And that means you can no longer play it. That's not right. That's not right. Even if the game does suck ass, there should still be ways to play that game. And one big argument that always comes up against this, and this was the one that Pirate Software was going to die on this hill, was going, oh, it's too much money for developers to maintain servers forever, which is not at all what people were saying. Everyone agrees that that's way too expensive and completely unreasonable. What we're saying is there should still be a way to play it, whether it's just a completely offline mode or whatever it is, player-created servers. There should be something there, right? And that goes for Concord as well, even though it is a piece of shit. So Concord did come up in the discussion in a recent UK government, whatever it fucking is called over there,
parliamentary debate.
Parliamentary debate. So to think that Stop Killing Games actually got that far is pretty fucking amazing on its own, right? So I will maintain that even if it all completely goes to shit, the fact that it got to this level is a big fucking eye-opener, all right? But that does bring us to this. Digital ownership must be respected. UK Parliament debates Stop Killing Games campaign, but government doesn't budge. Governments are always the last ones when it comes to this type of stuff. All of them, because they're all fucking boomers and retards. That's just politics in general, right? So Stop Killing Games is a consumer campaign that challenges lawmakers to introduce legislation that will stop publishers from being able to destroy video games they have sold to consumers. And the big game that started all of this was The Crew from Ubisoft, which is a racing game. In fact, if you guys haven't seen it, we did do a live stream with Ross, who started the whole movement. So you can go check that out. Specifically, it calls for laws that stop games that rely on online servers from being shut down without viable offline alternatives for those who invested money, citing recent examples such as The Crew, Concord, and Multiverses. And again, the point isn't about, are these games good? The point is not about, do you like these games? The point is about, you should not be able to take something away from someone that's bought it. That's the point. Yeah. In Europe, a petition for Stop Killing Games amassed more than 1 million signatures, sparking a response from its Game Industry Lobbying Association, which argued that it should be legally risky and prohibitively expensive for developers to develop these games in a way that could be supported when official developer support ends. And in the UK, nearly 200,000 people signed a petition for the issue to be debated in Parliament. And on Monday, that just passed, the UK Parliament debate took place with dozens of MPs presenting their arguments for why the government should rethink how consumer laws protect those who purchase games. So we have Pam Cox. It sounds like a porn star name. Argued that concurrent laws do not adequately protect consumers. And they fucking don't. Nowhere in the world. The Stop Killing Games movement highlights the growing frustration among players who see their purchases just vanish. It's clear that digital ownership must be respected and that publishers should look to provide routes for players to retain or repair games, even if the official service support for product ends. So another MP argued that government to consider the cultural importance of video games when reviewing consumer protections. I agree about the extent of which games have cultural identity, and that to take them down erases a cultural and artistic heritage that is vital to society and to the wider industry itself. And I completely agree with him on that one as well.
I love that statement, actually. Oh my goodness. That's kind of crazy to hear politicians agree on like the artistic value of video games. Jeez.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, China's gay and shit, but Black Myth Wukong was pretty fucking big, man. And that was like, hey, look, here's like hardcore ancient Chinese mythology. Have
No,
fun, you know?
I guess no, but I guess what I mean is like every time video games and politics comes up in the same conversation is usually trying to demonize one to uplift the other, right? And
Very
here you have
true.
here you have politicians finally just fucking acknowledging like, hey, this is a valuable art form and we should preserve it the best we
Mm.
can, just like we do with literature and film and all that stuff.
Yep. As campaigners have rightfully argued, if every copy of a book, film, or song were destroyed, we would see it as a cultural tragedy. We should view the loss of video games in the same light. Agreed.
Well said.
So then they argue that consumers were asking for a fairly simple guarantee from game makers that they won't suddenly be left with nothing after purchasing a game. I'm not demanding that publishers keep servers running forever. And that's the thing that people need to like. I know like we all sound like broken records, but it does need to keep being saying, go, no, that's not what we're asking for. No,
Why
that's
do we have
not
to
it.
keep why do we have to keep saying that? It's because the freaking companies and everybody who stands against us keep reiterating the same fucking argument, and we're bringing up the same damn retort, and we're not getting anywhere further past that because they keep bringing up the same fucking argument.
Yes, and it's not even the original argument.
Yeah, exactly. A goalpost move. Yeah, shocker.
Campaigners are not asking for indefinite technical support. We are not asking companies to keep pouring resources into a game they are finished with. What we are asking is fairly simple, that publishers should not be able to deliberately disable every copy of a game that consumers have already purchased, leaving them with nothing. Fucking oath. So then they argued at the end of support seen many modern video games wasn't the same as an electronic company ending support for an older printer because it still prints documents. What we're seeing with games is different. If someone bought that printer and then one day the manufacturer sent out a signal that deliberately stopped it from working, claiming that it had reached the end of its support, that is not support ending. That is obsolescence, which is entirely different meaning. Yes, that just means you've killed it.
Why am I being reminded by Windows operating system?
Oh, yeah, they need it fucking too. They need it fucking too, right? The MP cited Ubisoft's The Crew as the recent title that was shut down with no way for owners to play it. He also named EA's Anthem, which will soon see its service disabled. Platinum Games' Babylon's Fall and Cliff Bleszinski's Lawbreakers. Games I imagine that would have been popular with certain members of previous parliament. Okay.
I don't know what you're trying to say. Maybe the mythology stuff. I don't know. Freak. Shoot your shot,
I
man.
know
I guess
you play The Crew, motherfucker. I know you play The Crew.
I guess, yeah, whatever works.
Although I respect the government's position, I cannot help but observe that what is happening in this space should be perceived as a breach of consumer protection under the fair trading regulations. The fix in this area could be as simple as there being more transparency. That's an example as well. When a consumer purchases a game, it should be crystal clear that the publisher could deactivate it at any point. Yes, at the fucking minimum, yes. However, I want to go further. We need to retain something and ensure that publishers make the game playable for consumers long after they've pulled support of it. Going back to The Crew, the game did not need to be shut down. Ubisoft could have patched in offline play or allow private servers going forward. The ask from the consumers is simple. If the industry does plan to kill a game, it should ensure that consumers have a reasonable option to continue using their products for a single-player experience on private servers. Responding to that argument, the government's representative, Minister for Support, Tourism and Civil Society of Youth, acknowledged that consumer sentiment behind Stop Killing Games, but suggested there was no plans to amend UK law around the issue. So that's kind of where that falls apart then, isn't there? The government recognizes the strength of feeling behind the campaign that led to the debate. The petition attracted nearly 190,000 signatures. Similar campaigns, including Europe's Citizens Initiative, reached over 1 million signatures. There has been significant interest across the world. At the same time, the government also recognizes the concerns from video game industry about some of the campaign's asks. Online games are often dynamic, interactive service, not static products, and maintaining online services require substantial investment over years or even decades. See,
We're
they're still missing the fucking point.
That's it. They don't want to get past those arguments. It's like fuck. We can't do it because of this. No, it's this certain point of view, so we can't move forward on this. It's like no, but no. Okay, we get that. We have solutions here. No, I don't want to look at those solutions. Oh my fucking god! Like,
can I ask
And
a question though? Just because on that note though. So there's tons of games from the PlayStation 2 era, like the 360 PS3 era that doesn't get online support, but you're still able to play the game locally or natively and just do a multiplayer. Like a lot of the older Call of Duty games do that as well. If you want to do multiplayer, you can still do it locally so long as another person has that game on a console, right? So what's the difference between doing that and just keeping these games natively, just give it localized access, if that makes sense?
Shut up. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's because
no, seriously, that's pretty much it.
There are arguments on that. It's like, well, we can't ensure that the game always stays great because it's on offline and. But it's starting to fall apart in my own head on that. Yeah, because we know it's we bought it, it's owned. We should be allowed to use it. Whatever works with it is our decision. Whatever we want to mod with it, it's ours. But they because of those mods and certain things, and we need to preserve our intellectual property to ensure that it's not being abused or overused, so that we don't lose the property right. Like they're trying to treat this if they let it go, that it's losing your IP or letting people use it freely without it going after them through lawfare legally, that they'll just automatically lose it. It's in a sense, it's like they're treating their games and the use of it for the online play like that, but it's totally not the case. It's really just they want to keep control on it. They want to keep control of the online play and ensure that they always, if they have control of it, there is always an avenue of getting all the money that they get for it, rather than having third parties or other people get the money that they believe they deserve.
Oh god, okay, maybe I'm just not that greedy. Maybe that's it, but I still can't. You've made your money. You sold physical copies of that game. You sold online DLC and whatnot for that game as well. You still turned a profit. So when you're no longer supporting it, who gives a flying fuck if someone's making, a fan server to keep the game alive? There's been instances, I can't remember which game it is, but games that died out years ago got revived thanks to fans, and then it pushed developers to actually start making content and talking about that IP or franchise again. So I'm not understanding the logic here outside of we want control. That's
pretty much it. Well, it's like we do live in a day and age where the intellectual properties, if you don't have, if you don't hold it tight to your chest, it's going to get taken or it's going to get used, and people are going to take advantage of it. So a lot of folks in this society, they just act for any sort of IP that they own, that they know they legally owned. They will fight tooth and nail to ensure that they control it and they own it the way they see fit, not the way somebody else sees fit or the government sees fit.
But that's why also included is at the bare minimum, just make it more transparent then. At the bare fucking minimum. When you pick it up, there's a big fucking red line that runs across it that says, oh, by the way, we can turn this off.
Yep.
Just more transparency. Steam made some pretty good transparent updates start of the year, late last year, something like that. Why can't you just take that and put it on a fucking box? That's it. There you go. There's half the problems gone right there.
Yep.
It's just more transparency.
Carl brings up a good point too in the chat there. The simple answer is this: it's a lot of work for little return. Considering all of the extra efforts that they have to put into the programming to create that it's online, having it offline dedicated to allow the server browser system to access private servers and such.
If you're going to keep raising the price of the games, of the base games, then fuck yeah, it should be there. If you're going to keep raising the price.
On that.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to keep bringing up that price, then you should be able to put in equal amounts of effort of that price raise as well.